Every day you write emails, texts, posts, captions, and most of it sounds exactly like everyone else's, and you know it. You can feel it. You hit send and think that could have been written by anybody. And the usual advice is get better at copywriting, learn the frameworks, study the hooks, download the templates, maybe use AI to punch it up. Here's the thing, you don't have a writing problem, you have a voice problem. I guarantee you don't sound generic when you're arguing with your best friend over whether pineapple belongs on pizza. You don't sound forgettable when you're telling a story at dinner about what you did last weekend. And you definitely don't sound like everyone else when you're firing off a text to a friend, a partner, or your friend's group chat. That version of you is more persuasive than anything a template or AI will ever produce. The problem isn't that you can't communicate, it's that you shut off your real voice the moment you think you're supposed to sound impressive. Now, I've spent over a decade as a brand strategist helping everyone from New York Times bestselling authors to eight-figure business owners find and develop their voice. I'm also a three-time best-selling author, including a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. And I found that nearly every single person falls into one of five voice types. And I'm going to walk you through all five, help you figure out which one is yours, and show you how to adapt to any platform or situation, whether it's a keynote, an Instagram caption, or just a hard conversation that you've been putting off. But before I get into the five types, there's a foundation you need to understand first and explains why people's messaging falls flat even when the words are technically good. Every brand, personal or corporate, doesn't matter, stands on three legs like a tripod. You lose one, the whole thing tips over. There's a visual identity, which includes how you look, your colors, your logo, your aesthetic. We all get this one. You know that Target is red, you know that Apple is white. Then there's the value identity, your positioning. That's where you sit relative to the competition. Are you Louis Vuitton? Are you Walmart? Both make a fortune, but it's very different how they make their money. Then there's the one that almost no one thinks about, and that is your verbal identity, how you sound, how you write, the words you choose, and the rhythm you use to deliver them. Most people pour all their energy into the visual and the value. They'll spend weeks picking brand colors and logos, but they'll spend 2 minutes thinking about how they actually sound in an email. That is the gap I want to help you with today, because that is the gap that makes you invisible. Now, here's the part you actually came for, and I would like you to pay close attention to number four, because it's the one most people don't realize they are. And as I go through these, don't just think about business. Think about which one sounds most like you in real life when you aren't trying. All right, number one, the academic. The academic is thorough, detailed, precise. This person thinks in paragraphs. They cite sources. They've read studies. A great example is Dr. Robert Cialdini, author of the seminal book, Influence, one of the most important marketing books ever written. But if you've ever tried to read it, you know it is dense. He is a professor, so he writes like a professor. Just look at some of the writing from his book. If you read this, you're already asleep. But here's the thing. That book changed an entire industry. The ideas are so powerful that people buy the book. Then they often go to blog posts that summarize the six principles of influence because they can't get through the actual text. But that is an academic voice. The depth is real. The packaging just isn't for everyone. Now, if you do this poorly, it puts you to sleep. But if you do it well, you become the friend that everyone turns to when the stakes are high because you've actually done the homework, right? If people come to you for the well-researched, nuanced takes on something, this might be you. All right, number two, the professional. The professional is clean, polished, narrative. This is most consultants, business authors, people in leadership. They're clear, they're competent. Think Dory Clark. Dory is an incredible speaker and author. She teaches at high level academic institutions, but she doesn't write like an academic. It's more approachable. She's clear, she's structured, she's authoritative without being stuffy. John Maxwell is another great example. This guy sold tens of millions of books on leadership, and his voice is just clean, it's pithy, it's sharp, it's clear leadership communication. You read their stuff, and it feels like a smart person explaining something really well. No jargon, no showing off, just competence on every single page. Now, here's the risk with this voice. It can feel like you're always in work mode. If you've ever gotten a text from someone that reads like a corporate memo where they put exact punctuation on a text, you're like, geez. They feel like they're stuck in professional voice when they should have switched registers. But again, if you naturally communicate with this kind of structure and clarity, this might be your home base. Let's look at the next one. I call this the emoji. This is one that gets the most judgment, but stick with me because it is more nuanced than you think. The emoji is expressive. It's warm. It's energy that jumps off the screen. Exclamation points, hearts. Before you assume this is a girl guy thing, it isn't. My buddy Travis Chappell, man's man, he writes like this. His captions are full of emojis, line breaks, exclamation energy, but it works because it's genuinely how Travis communicates. It's not performed, that's just him. Amy Porterfield is another great example. Her whole brand voice radiates warmth and enthusiasm, smiley faces, hearts. I cannot wait to share this with you. I love her podcast. Right? You just feel her energy through her copy and through her podcast. Now, the risk is that this voice can feel very performative if the energy isn't genuine. I am certainly not this kind of person. But when it's real, it's the person whose texts actually make you smile. If people describe you as warm or authentic or enthusiastic without you even trying, this might be you. All right, let's look at number 4. I call this one the snark. This is the one I said to pay attention to because a lot of people are this and they don't realize it. The snark is sharp. They're sarcastic. They are the wise ass. They say the things everyone's thinking but won't say out loud. A great example of this, Ramit Sethi. This guy is like a masterclass on the snark voice. He will write stuff like, "Bad news, I'm Indian, so getting an A is not enough. I need the A plus." Right? He roasts himself. He roasts the situation. He's not afraid to be contrarian. He's not afraid to be confrontational, but somehow he makes you trust him more because he's that way. He's funny in a way that's also making a point. Then there's Ben Settle. This guy's an email copywriting legend. His email subject lines are not for the faint of heart. He'll write things like, "I swear on a stack of Bibles, I've never done crack." Who writes like that, right? This guy is deliberately edgy. He's borderline provocative, or maybe over the line provocative, but that is his voice. It is pushed right to or even over the line. And when this is done well, it is magnetic. But when you do it poorly, it's just mean. You become Simon Cowell from American Idol, right? Now, that line between snark and cruelty is thinner than people realize. If your friends say you're pretty funny, you're hilarious, but you would get canceled, you might be a snark. All right, the last one is the one that gets the most attention online, but it might also be the most dangerous to imitate if it's actually not you. And I'm, of course, talking about the motor mouth. The motor mouth is loud, they're fast, they're all caps energy. Everything at 11 out of 10. People like Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, you don't even need to read their content. Just look at their Instagram feeds. It's all microphones and faces, bold text everywhere. It looks like a Circuit City circular from the 90s, just loud. Their verbal identity and their visual identity are the same thing, volume. Now, this approach works for some people, but if it's not you, trying to be a motor mouth is exhausting for everyone, including and especially you. If people tell you to calm down and you can't, well, embrace it. Go full motor mouth. If you're forcing it, then stop. Now, here's the part that nobody talks about. And honestly, this might be more important than knowing your type. Your voice is not your niche. I see people get this wrong all the time. They think their industry determines their voice. It doesn't. Let's take a look at JJ Virgin. She is one of the most well-known and respected names in health and wellness. JJ's voice is solidly professional. It's clear, authoritative, it's structured. She sounds like a leader in her space because that is who she is. But if you think about the health and wellness industry as a whole, that same niche has academics publishing dense clinical research. It has emoji voices with hearts and gratitude and sending you healing energy vibes. It has snarks who are contrarian, ripping apart bad nutrition science and calling out the industry. And it definitely has its fair share of motor mouths yelling at you to get off the couch at 4 a.m., cold plunge, and get to the gym. Same niche, 5 completely different voices. All of them can work. The voice isn't coming from the industry, it's coming from the person. Don't look at what other people are doing in your space and assume that's how you need to sound. Your niche gives you the topic. Your voice is what you bring to it. Okay, so now you know the 5 types. You know it's about you and not your niche. But there's one more layer that changes everything. It's the thing that separates people who sound authentic from people who sound like they're doing a character. I call this the register shift, meaning your voice register. You do not have one voice, you have several. The way you talk with your closest friends is definitely not how you talk in a job interview. How you text your college roommate is definitely not how you email your kid's principal, I hope. If you've ever been in the military, you know, there's a voice that you use in formation that would be pretty absurd at like a family barbecue. Now, none of those voices are fake. They're all you. They're just calibrated to the room. Same thing applies to platforms. Your Instagram story doesn't need to sound like your LinkedIn. Your email to a client doesn't need to match your group chat. The voice adapts, but the person stays the same. Think of it like the inside voice versus outside voice you learned when you were a kid. Some platforms are inside voice, some are outside voice. Problems happen when you bring the outside voice inside or when you whisper in a room that actually needs you to speak up. Now, everything I just shared, I created years ago. It was a framework that I called copy proof, as in your brand becomes impossible to copy because the voice is distinctly yours, but it was also play on copywriting. Now, back then, voice was a nice differentiator. It was like the cherry on top. You could get away with generic copy if your tactics were good enough, just sprinkle in a little bit, right? Maybe 10% of your own voice. But here's the thing, that time is over. AI writes competent generic content in like 30 seconds, templates, hooks, swipe files. A machine can do it all now for free. The only thing that can't be replicated now is something that sounds unmistakably human, unmistakably you. That 10% I used to teach on is now the whole game. So whether you're building a business, writing a book, interviewing for a job, or just trying to be someone that people actually remember, your voice is the asset, not your tactics, not your templates, your voice. All right, so three things to walk away with. Number one, notice your default voice. How do you naturally communicate when you're not performing? That's the signal. Build from there. Number two, name your type. You do not have to fit perfectly into one of the five voices that I shared. Usually we're a little bit of a blend, but knowing your center of gravity helps you lean in instead of fighting it. Number three, match the voice to the room. Inside voice, outside voice. Every platform should get a version of you, but every platform also gets you as a result. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot to me if you like the video. And if you haven't yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Helps me get word out about what I'm doing here. And if you're a business owner wondering where your biggest gaps are, especially around voice, messaging, and clarity, I want to invite you to take my idea to IP assessment. The link's in the description. You'll see it all there. 10 minutes, personalized roadmap, no fluff. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the next one.